Hey guys, it's me, Etta Rosa. I hope you're having a great day. As you can hear, I'm a little stuffed up and I'm a little under the weather, but it's not going to stop me from, complying with my promise or keeping my promise. So today we're going to talk about rejuvenation. And a lot of people were like, what does this have to do with your brands, the legal industry? And some people have been asking me, lately your posts have been more towards mindset. And once our book comes out, you'll understand why I'm focusing on mindset and what all this has to do with the legal industry. So I'm giving you little sneak peeks of the book. As most of you know, our book is coming out soon, hopefully by September. We're trying to launch it before that, but it's still going through the editing process, and we're getting our book cover. I'm a perfectionist. I know it's never going to be perfect, but I want to get it to where it's going to be all in one product where everyone can benefit from it. For those of you that don't know, our book is going to be called the Let's Talk Paralegal, the book, for every legal professional that's either looking into going into the legal industry or pivoting within the legal industry. That's really what the book is going to be about. It's like a little guidebook that we are having our audience endure. And I integrate a little bit of my own experiences and what I went through throughout my 18 years of being a legal professional and a paralegal in general. To kind of put it into perspective, I provide you with examples so you can kind of get an idea of what that concept looks like. And it's a book I've been working on ever since the Let's Talk Paralegal brand came out. So it'll be a year soon. But the concepts and everything that I have implemented in the book, I've been working on forever, for 4 years, 5 years. So it's a great marriage between who I am, who the brand is, and what else I have learned throughout the 4 years of Etta Rosa LLC. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm pretty proud of it. I think we did a really good job, or I did a good job. Editors are doing their job now. So once they give us the final go, we'll go ahead and we'll publish it and you guys can purchase it. So keep tuned into that. But enough about the book. Let's talk about today. So today we're going to be talking about rejuvenation. And I'm going to tie all this in through the legal industry and how to implement it within your legal profession or your legal career in general. Just so that you can understand where I'm coming from and how to do it, because that's the whole purpose. So I felt it important that we talk about rejuvenation during the summer. Summer is usually when kids are out of school, they're taking the break. Back in the day, the whole reason summer was, created was for the students to help out on the farm and really help the family, right? So help yourself, help your family. Rejuvenation is basically what summer is all about. So I felt it kind of relevant to do it during this time. And my definition of rejuvenation and how we're going to tie it in is basically an action or a process of giving new energy to something, right? So it's almost like a restoration, right? And that's pretty much in a nutshell what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about those goals that we talked about at our last live, and now how to restore, rejuvenate, reset, and actually place those goals into action. Because if you don't work on yourself and you don't work on your mindset, those goals are just going to sit there and they're just going to be a list versus be actionable. So how do we do that, right? How do we hit that restore button or reset button, or how do we rejuvenate those goals so that we can, really put into action? So I'm going to give you a really simple, somewhat disgusting example. So prepare yourselves. And I'm gonna tell you this, and this idea came from my son. My son, he just turned 3 last week, and he's a very adventurous, curious boy, typical rough, tough boy. And, he gets himself into a lot of trouble because of his curiosity and no fear. So we had bought him a scooter for his birthday, and he goes ahead and he's quick to, he puts on all his gear and his helmet, and he's being, and this is inside the house, by the way. We're not even out yet. And all of a sudden he goes, phew, and he grabs, and he gets like a scab, like a scar, and he gets cut. So then, throughout the days, I've been, kind of putting ointment on it and, treating it. And then I see like, it's scabbing. And usually when it's scabbing, it means it's about to heal. So this is basically how I look at rejuvenation. Rejuvenation are scars, cuts, or something that we carry with us. If you're religious, your cross to bear. If you're spiritual, your insecurities or what the universe may be telling you, but you're ignoring. If you're none of that, then just take my example to a literal extent and basically look at when you're cut or burn, because I've burned myself quite a few times because I love to bake. It's one of my hobbies. And see how it heals depending on how you treat it. So perfect example, I have a scar here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Oh yeah, you can see it. I have a scar here. This was a burn from the oven. So even though I did have the mittens, the mitten kind of like shrunk, and I grabbed it, and the rack was there, and I burned myself. So I didn't really pay any mind to it. I thought it was going to go away. I didn't really treat it. We have aloe plants. Usually that's how I heal burns. And there we go. We have a scar. This happened months ago. But the other day, I was frying, and stupid me, I had pasta boiling and then the oil. And we all know that water and oil don't mix. And all of a sudden, I did something, again, stupid, not thinking about it. And the water falls into the oil and splatters everywhere on my right arm from here to here. But as you can see, I don't have any scars because I treated it. I put aloe every day. I put ointment every day. I made sure it was clean, and I took care of it. And this is what we need to do with our goals. Once we see those scars, once we see those insecurities hit, we need to nurture them. We need to take care of them, and then we need to take action so that we don't get scars. And if you already have scars, you need to learn how to embrace those scars and move on from them. So I know you're telling me, what the hell does this have to do with my career, my legal industry, or even your brand in general? So we're going to get into that now. I'm going to need you to answer these 3 questions that are on the screen. The first one is, how often do you review your goals after you have set them? So a lot of us, we have these fancy pads or journals, or, we buy these, for us people that love office work, we buy all these fancy little pens and, sticky notes and, all these little cute little sets that we see that are either relevant or funny, encouraging, or you just want them. Just be real. And then what do you do with them? You sometimes don't even want to use them because they're so pretty and you don't want to open them, or you just have no use for them, or you find no use for them, and then you either throw them away or put them in a box. And that's usually what we do with our goals. We buy them, we think they're pretty, we create them, and then we put them in a box and forget about them and wonder why we're still in the same situation 5 years later, a year later, months later, whatever your timeline is. So how often do you review, how often do you take them out of that box and actually look at those goals, right? And then the second one is, do you set action plans for those goals, right? Because it's fine and dandy that you list them, but once you list them, do you set an action plan? Do you say, okay, this is my goal, and these are the steps I'm going to take in order to actually make that goal? That's actually the most crucial part, once you've identified the goals that you want to do. And then, why do you think you do or you don't do all these things that I just asked you? And you don't have to answer that third one because I already know, or most likely I know. Last time we spoke about obstacles and how we think our current circumstances are going to negatively affect the bottom line or your goal in this case. And really, in essence, they're just obstacles. They're not issues. They're not problems. They're just things that you think are wrong or will prevent you from achieving that, and you put that as an obstacle. And I think the underlying issue on that one is this little thing called motivation. And that's really what it comes down to. Whether you are motivated enough, whether you are ambitious enough, and whether you can say, F this, I'm going to do it anyway. And all that is motivation. A lot of people call it grit, but for me, grit and motivation are two different things. You can be motivated. It's kind of like a diet. You can be, really motivated to go on a diet, but then when you don't see the results according to your internal timeline, you quit. Motivation or grit is what keeps you going. It's what keeps that momentum going, is what keeps you losing weight, gaining weight, whatever your ultimate goal is. So without motivation, you're not going to be able to set action plans and stay with those goals and action plans, right? So that's what it comes down to. And why am I telling you this? why are all these questions? What is all this about? And how am I tying this back into the Let's Talk Paralegal at Rosa LLC? What the pandemic has shown is something that most of us, especially me, have noticed, that life is no longer a 9 to 5 until you die. Life is whatever you want it to be. And time is all that we have, right? Equal of. We may have other, again, obstacles and things preventing us, or us preventing ourselves because of those. But when you realize that there are 24 hours in a day and that we all have those 24 hours until our last day, you will start using that time wisely, and you will start finding time to make your goals a reality. And that's the key. So stop saying that you don't have enough time. Stop saying that you're too busy. Stop saying that you're not good enough, you're not enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough resources, your website's not perfect, or whatever those insecurities are. Stop it and start getting motivated and start adding grit to your motivation. And if your heart is no longer in whatever you're doing, then either you're doing it wrong, you're doing it in a place that doesn't appreciate it, or you may just be doing something you don't like anymore. A perfect example, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they used this example, and I thought it was a great analogy to use for this session. And it's basically this teacher asks herself, I love teaching, I love my kids, I'm just not happy anymore, and I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life anymore. And I thought that that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life, is teach. And she happened to be a kindergarten teacher, and the counselor coach said to her, well, maybe it's your audience. Maybe you don't want to teach your kindergartners anymore. Maybe you're not getting enough value out of that anymore, and you don't see your work either being valued or extended to who you want it to be. Maybe you want to teach another crowd. Maybe you want to teach in college. Maybe, become a professor. Maybe you want to go into human resources and start teaching and educating, departments within the office industry. So her passion ultimately was to teach, right? And that resonates with me because ultimately, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a teacher. And I found that they don't get paid that much. Their benefits are okay depending on what jurisdiction you're in. But at the end of the day, for me, in my mind, if I wasn't making X amount of money, I wasn't going to be successful or happy in that industry. So I went into my second passion, which was law. although I've always been passionate about law. But I went into that and I started doing paralegal, and I ultimately thought I was going to be a lawyer again for the money. So I was trying to get these goals because of money, and ultimately money is just money. It's a tool that you can use in order to, get to where you need to be. But at the end of the day, it's just a tool. It doesn't define you. It doesn't create the person you are, because you are who you are because of your values and your morals, not because of how much money you make. Money, again, I used this analogy last time, it's like a brick. It can be dangerous or it can build. So money is the same concept. And in a nutshell, what I found out is that, yes, teaching was my passion. So I fast forward 15 years later, I opened up Etta Rosa LLC, and I started doing paralegal coaching and teaching at paralegal studies programs. So yes, ultimately, I combined both of my passions, which is law and teaching, and I created what now is called the Let's Talk Paralegal Movement and my company, Etta Rosa LLC. So, but all of that had to do with setting goals, getting action plans together, and creating what is now this beautiful environment and safe space for the legal professionals to speak their mind, to ask questions, to see warning signs, and to really learn and educate themselves before they get into what I like to call the jungle of the legal industry. So ultimately, motivation is what got me into it, but grit is what made me continue. Ambition as well. So that's my little tidbit on Rejuvenation. Our next events can be found on the events website that's on your screen right now. So if you want to go into our summer session, which we have a special guest that's coming to our summer session, which is next Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check out the registration information and check out if you like the topic. It's also about rejuvenation, but it's more how we as paralegals or legal professionals in general handle that rejuvenation and handle that concept. So it's going to be an interesting conversation for us that are going through a lot of internal obstacles and battles, maybe possibly negative thoughts, but also to network and meet other fellow legal professionals that may give you different opinions, insights, ask questions that you may be afraid to ask and get your answers to. So it's a great opportunity for networking as well and creating that beautiful, wonderful, safe environment for legal professionals that may be going through some internal battles. So definitely check out our events at that website that you see there. Sorry. We also have an online shop with courses and products that you can buy. Our cups are on there. They're super cheap. They're $10, including shipping. So definitely check those out. We are going to get mugs soon. I haven't found anyone that I like to create those mugs, but we'll get the coffee mugs out soon, which I know some of you have been asking. And I think somebody asked for like a wine glass. I'm not sure we're going to do wine glasses, but definitely coffee mugs. We're just trying to find someone that is in line with our mission, that is local, American bred. You'll notice when you buy the cups that on the bottom of the cups it says made in the USA. So we take pride in supporting our country, our laborers, and our small businesses. So know that when you purchase from us, you purchase from other small businesses and support them as well, which another thing we learned in the pandemic was that we need to support each other. So I hope this helped. I don't see anybody have any questions, but I'll stay on for at least 5 more minutes so that I can answer any questions that you may have about what we just spoke about. Oh, somebody asked me to put the questions back up on the screen, so I will do that. And you guys can always email me at ettarosallc@gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. And don't forget to subscribe, please, to YouTube so you can get all our live sessions notifications and get involved in the Let's Talk Paralegal movement. know that when you're purchasing, also, not only are you supporting small businesses, but you're supporting nonprofit organizations that are working to change the legal industry. So definitely, that's another thing. That's why we make them so affordable, so that, we know our audience and we understand that we're all struggling. But if you can afford a Starbucks, coffee, or go out and have a fast food meal, take that money and, support a local business. So that's my tidbit on that. I'm not going to get political. But, I make it known that I always support small businesses, and I'm always in the lookout for local, when we do go eat out in a restaurant or something like that, we support, local businesses that may have suffered, or just support them. Small businesses sustain our economy, and you're supporting our country too. So that's that. All right. I don't see any questions, and like I said, I'm a little under the weather, so thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys always. I know I'm not as enthusiastic as usual, but know that I love you, and know that I appreciate all your support and all your love that you share with me on a day-to-day basis, especially on LinkedIn, which is my biggest following. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, but I spend most of my time on LinkedIn and YouTube, of course. So check us out. Let us know what you think. Let me know what you want to see at our next live, which will be in July. I don't have a date quite yet. But yeah, so there's definitely more to come. We have books. Our podcast is coming out. Again, season 2 in September. We're trying to launch the podcast and the book together, kind of, so that, both of them can come out together. We have awesome guests coming up. We start our sessions on the 21st of June. So we're recording already for our season 2, which is phenomenal. It's going to be more outside the box thinking, even though they're still legal professionals, but the legal professionals I'm bringing in have this other perspective of the legal industry and show you different avenues of the legal industry, and maybe something that you haven't thought about, or you're like, oh wow, that's interesting, I want to check that out. And that's basically what it's all about. The legal industry is not just paralegals and attorneys, lawyers. There's a lot more that come into the legal industry. We have court reporters, we have transcribers or translators. There's plenty, but I don't want to give it away too soon, so that's what I'm going to say about that. But we'll have little sneak peeks of the podcast throughout the summer as soon as we start recording, so you'll hear like little 30-second recordings just to kind of get you excited and kind of get an idea of the type of guests we'll have on. So it's super exciting. I'm excited, and I appreciate all of you. I do, I promise. I'm going to stay on maybe 5 more minutes so that I can make it at least to 30 minutes. We're right now at 23 minutes. So I'll stay a little longer for any questions that you guys may or may not have. And you can always just go on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'm pretty open. Comment on this broadcast if you have any questions after, if you're looking at the replay. I'll put in, somebody asked me for the shop information, so here's the website for that. But you can find all this on our website, guys. It's www.adarosallc.com. You can find our events. You can find our podcast links, everything. So all of this, our shop, all of that, that's our website if you guys want it. And if you subscribe to our YouTube, we make most of our announcements either on these lives or on YouTube intro videos. Our intro for the podcast is coming out soon. Obviously, I'm not going to record it in this lovely voice that I have today. But yeah, I will definitely record that in the upcoming days and get that to you. All right, I do have one question here that I see, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that question. Oh, that's a good question. So the question is, how do you stay motivated? That's really good. So Rejuvenation is all about, again, setting the reset button and really taking a pause. That's the whole, if you haven't heard it, the last episode on season 1 was about taking a hiatus, and it was just me talking about how taking a break is really useful. So sometimes when you lose motivation, it's a couple of reasons. You're either burnt out, which is never a good sign, or it's time to reevaluate your goals. Maybe your goals are no longer aligned with your values. The person that you were 2 years ago, you may not be right now. So your goals have to grow with you. So maybe it's time to hit that pause button and reevaluate. Now, if you look at your goals and you see that your goals are still aligned with who you are, and really that's something that your heart is still in, and maybe you're not quite burnt out, you're just tired, and either way, you should take a break. Take a couple days. I'm actually doing that. I'm taking a paralegal vacation. I believe it's on the 8th, so in 4 days. So I'm taking a 4-day, 3-night, just me, no kids, no husband, no dog. I rented out a little Airbnb in Miami, and it's basically what I call the creation tank, where I can finalize the book and finalize the podcasts and, get all that going and basically chill, relax, not have to worry about anything. And then you have to give yourself mental space. You have to give I think it's like a ridiculous amount of thoughts that we get in a day. We get like 10,000 thoughts in a day. So when you put that into perspective, it's nice to just relax and take that break, mental break, because you need it. Mental health is important. Anybody else? Yeah, that's a good one too. So the question was because I had said there was a difference between the motivation and the grit, and then they asked me, when do you know if it's motivation or if it's grit? So motivation is what keeps you going. It's that eagerness to continue. And really, when you're excited about something, you have an idea in your head and you're excited about this new position at work, or you realize exactly what you want to do, how you want to do it. That excitement that you get, the little butterflies in your stomach, that's motivation. That's what keeps you excited about something. Now, in these burnout moments that I just discussed, and in these tired moments, and these moments that you may need a break, what keeps you going is not really motivation, it's grit. It's that ambition. It's that feeling that I need to keep going regardless how shitty I feel. Like today, perfect example. Regardless how physically shitty I feel or mentally exhausted I am, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep, going. So that's my interpretation. You can take it or leave it. I don't really have any science behind it. But that's been my experience, and that's my kind of way of coaching paralegals, and it's worked. So I continue to do it, because if it doesn't work, then I wouldn't do it, right? So yeah. So good question. It's all about feeling, really, in essence. All right, looks like I have one more question. Oh, thank you. Somebody said feel better. Thank you. I'm trying. Anybody else? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for always supporting me and taking the time to watch my lives. I appreciate you and love you. Trust me, I do. Sorry I sound like this, but I didn't want to give up on you guys. It's my grit. So I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Yeah? All right. Bye, guys.